Hello, my name is Antônio, and today I'm going to be doing some revision for the Avaliação Especial. I'm going to do some English revision. I'm going to focus on grammar and the exercises that include grammar. All the vocabulary you need is going to be on the summary. That's also going to be in ARPA. On pages 44 and 151 from the textbook, as page 44 as well, and page 45, page 46, page 48, and 169. All the vocabulary is going to be there, and the summary is going to include all the vocabulary. I'm not going to bore you with any of the vocabulary because I think that is really just memorizing stuff. So I'm just here focusing on exercises and especially grammar. Okay, so we're going to begin with exercise 13 from the Provo Mistral, the 2019 Provo Mistral. And the exercise says, which sentence contains a verb form wrongly used for the context given? So we basically have to look at the highlighted verb forms, and then we have to find which one is wrong, basically. So let's read the alternatives, and then we can find which one is wrong. Julian and Beatrice were living together for more than a decade when he eventually proposed to her. We just assumed it wouldn't last. Fortunately, we were wrong. Next month, they will have been happily married for a year. Okay, alternative B. My wedding day was unforgettable. It rained all day long. When I woke up and I looked outside, I just burst into tears. I had just read somewhere that rain was a bad omen, so I just assumed the whole thing would be a disaster. On top of that, I managed to ruin my wedding gown. I had poured myself a drink to calm my nerves, and while I was looking for my phone, I tripped over and spilled my drink all over my dress. Alternative C. Of course, I miss Plymouth. It's been my home for the past 7 years. But my baby's due in September, and I want to be near my family when the time comes. I'll have finished packing my stuff by the end of next week. The thing I'll miss the most is this tiny flat which I found by chance just 2 days after I arrived. It felt so good to have my own place after months of sharing a bedroom. I wish I could keep it. I just wish I could keep it. Alternative D. The thought of changing jobs had always been a daunting one for me. I remember my first day in the new school was terrifying. I hadn't had a wink of sleep the night before. In hindsight, I was overreacting, of course. Anyway, what matters is that it's been 5 years now, and I couldn't be happier that I overcame my fear and took this leap of faith. Alternative E. Susan was walking back home when she heard a muffled sound coming from behind her. She knew it was late and that walking home alone would be a mistake, but she had had one too many and was dying to get home so she could collapse on her bed and forget about that dreadful day. Okay, so let's begin from the bottom, go to up. The bottom to, the top. Okay, Susan was walking. Okay, that's pretty good. Susan was walking back home. This is accurate. This is correct. This is right. There's no mistake here. Because Susan was walking and then she walked and it ended when she stopped walking. So yeah, and then she heard same reason. She heard and then she stopped hearing it. So it's like momentary. It doesn't continue. So this one is correct. So it cannot be alternative E. Just change color here. It cannot be this one. Now if we go for the alternative D, the thought of changing jobs had always been a daunting one for me. This sounds a bit weird, but it's right. It is right. Had always been, it's right. Because in the past it was, but now it's not. So it's an action that was until a certain time, and then it ended. So this is the correct way to write that. I remember my first day in the new school was terrifying. I hadn't had. This is also correct. It's on the negative, clearly. And I hadn't had. So he puts himself in the past. And then he says something about the past. So he didn't have any sleep that night. So he hadn't had. So I hadn't had a wink of sleep. So this is correct. And if we go a little to anyway, what matters is that it's been. This is correct. It has been. So it's still going. It hasn't finished yet. So he's still working in the same place, and he took the faith, the leap of faith that what he calls it here. And yeah, because there's a time period. It's how long. It's unfinished, and it's still unfinished because he's still working there. So this one is clearly correct. So this one is not the wrong one. I'm just gonna cross this out as well. Let's go to the alternative C. Of course I'll miss Plymouth. It has been my home for the past 7 years. But my baby is due in September, and I want to be near my family when the time comes. I'll stop there. We'll continue later. Of course I'll miss Plymouth. So she's clearly moving away from Plymouth. And it has been. It still hasn't finished, but it will finish in the near future. So how long has it been since she moved to Plymouth? It has been for the past 7 years. It has been my home for the past 7 years. This is right. Let's go for the second one. I'll have finished packing my stuff by the end of this week. This is clearly, I think you guys can see this is correct, because I will have. She will finish, but she hasn't finished yet. But she will in the near future. So when she does finish packing, it's going to be by the end of this week. The thing I'll miss the most is my tiny flat, which I found by chance just 2 days after I arrived. It felt so good to have my own place after months of sharing a bedroom. So it felt good. It felt in the past, and that's it. Nowadays it doesn't feel. It's a finished action. It's a finished feeling, actually. So this is correct as well. Simple past. So yep, this is also correct. I'm also going to mark this off as one of the correct ones. B. My wedding day was unforgettable. It rained all day long. When I woke up and looked outside, I just burst into tears. Okay, let's analyze this verb. It rained all day long. It rained in the past. It's not raining. It hasn't been raining. So this is something she's talking about, her wedding day. So it's in the past, and it finished. It ended. It's a finished action. So it rained that day. It's not raining still. It hasn't been raining. It's just rained. So simple past here is the correct way to use the verb. I had read somewhere that the rain was a bad omen, so I just assumed the whole thing would be a disaster. I had read. She puts herself in the past, and then she tells us, the readers, that she read. So she had read. In the past, she read. So in the past, she read in the past that rain was a bad omen. So yep, this is also correct. These two verbs are correct. On top of that, I managed to ruin my wedding gown. I had poured myself a drink to calm my nerves, and while I was looking for my phone, I tripped over and spilled my drink all over the place. She was looking in the past. It's a finished action. It ended. So it finished. It doesn't influence anything now. This is also correct. So yeah, just by elimination, you can see it's A. But I'm gonna give the reasoning why. Otherwise, this wouldn't be a lesson. Julian and Beatrice were living together for more than a decade when he eventually proposed to her. Up until here, you guys see it's quite fluid, and it rolls with the tongue. So these two ones are correct. However, when you get to they will have been, this makes no sense. Fortunately, we were wrong. Next month, they will have been. It makes absolutely no sense, and it's written wrongly. So So this one is the correct, like the alternative, because this one is where the verb form is used wrongly for the context given. Okay, this is question 12 on the Avaliação Mistral 2019 first term. And the question says, the verb which correctly and respectively complete the gaps in the text below are. We basically read the text and we can complete with these missing gaps. You can pause the video if you want. So Madeleine Beth McCann something was disappearing, has disappeared, had disappeared, or disappeared. Just from elimination here and from how it sounds, and from what you guys know from grammar, we can clearly just cross A away, because it's not was disappearing, because she wasn't disappearing every now and then. She disappeared and then she didn't come back, probably. Let's continue. On the evening of 3rd of May 2007, from her bed in an apartment holiday in Praia da Luz, a resort in the Algarve region of Portugal, sparking what one newspaper called the most heavily reported missing person case in modern history. So she basically disappeared from her bed. Madeleine was on holiday from the UK with her parents, Kate and Gary McCann, her 2-year-old twin siblings, and a group of family friends and their children. She and the twins were left, had been left, has been left, was left. I can clearly just take away from here, from this, was left, because they wasn't left. They wasn't left there. That's right. That's wrong. She and her twin siblings has been left. That's also wrong, because they hasn't been left there. I will still keep B and C though. So let's continue reading. She and the twin siblings asleep at 20:30 in the ground floor apartment, while the McCanns and friends dined in a restaurant 50 meters away. The parents checked on the children throughout the evening until Madeleine's mother had discovered she was missing. So, had discovered she was missing, or discovered she was missing. So this one is actually quite a difficult one, but I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to continue reading. After misinterpreting a British DNA analysis, the Portuguese police came to believe that Madeleine had died in an accident in the apartment, and that her parents tried to cover it up. The McCanns were given. Okay, so from here I can clearly just eliminate B, and the correct answer is alternative C. So Madeleine Beth McCann disappeared. She and the twins had been left asleep. Madeleine's mother discovered she was missing. Number 4, the Portuguese police came to believe that Madeleine had died in an accident. The McCanns were given. Last one is this exercise where we need to fill the blanks. This is pretty common, pretty average. However, this one you have to fill the correct verb forms. So enter, make, rain, fall, say, work, return, make, set up, find. You have to put them all in the correct verb form. Okay, so first of all, the relief operation following the severe floods in the north of England. It's in the present, so has entered. Has entered. Don't mind my handwriting, please. The floods which something make over 400 people homeless, so that's in the past, so have made. Started last Monday. Okay, something rained almost continuously for the previous week. Okay, so we're on Monday and it rained almost continuously for the previous week. It had been raining. Why? Why is that? Because this sentence puts us on the past, and it talks about the past. So the previous week, it starts last Monday, it had been raining continuously, almost continuously for the previous week. So had been raining, okay. And an estimated 2 meters of rain, something in the worst affected areas, had fallen. Why is that? Because it's same reasoning for the rain, because it puts us in the past and it talks about something that happened in the past. So had fallen. The minister in charge, Peter Gilman, say the government something work out to find an alternative accommodation for victims. The minister in charge, Peter Gilman, has said, so because he says currently, has said, the government has been working. Why is that? Because the government is still working, so they haven't stopped working, and they began working in the past. So being is what puts it in the past, and working is what makes us think that they're still working to this day. So he warned it could be weeks before the waters have returned, because the water will return, and the waters have returned to normal levels. And flooded houses have been made fit for habitation, my bad, sorry. So have been made Why is that? Because this time it actually says something that they will do. So they need to make the houses fit for habitation. So it's going to take weeks before the flooded houses have been made fit for habitation. Meanwhile, those displaced are being housed in emergency shelters that have been set up, because the shelters are still up and they were built in the past. In schools and sports centers, Gilliam promises that they find temporary accommodation for everybody by the end of the week. So the correct form here is it's in the future. So they probably will find. However, they will have found temporary accommodation for everyone by the end of the week. Guys, please make sure to look at the summary, also posted in ARPA. These are just exercises and just recapping some perfect aspect. I hope you like this, and good luck.